Welcome everybody to another video of Ancient Greece Reloaded. Today we will talk about the famous king Neleus, king of Pylos, husband to Chloris, and the father of the famous hero Nestor. By the way, if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so as to stay tuned for upcoming videos. Overall, the order of events leading to Neleus' birth differs between sources, but the most common version begins with Tyro walking next to the banks of the river Enipephs. Tyro was said to be infatuated with the Potami Enipephs. Nevertheless, Enipephs more or less refused her advances. However, Poseidon, learning of this infatuation, disguised himself as Enipephs and slept with Tyro. As a result, Tyro would fall pregnant with twin boys. Some tell of Tyro exposing her two sons, either because she was ashamed or because her father Salmoneus told her to, not believing that Tyro had lay with a god, and instead believing it was some trickery of his brother Sisyphus. Subsequently, Tyro would marry King Chryseis of Iolcus, with Tyro then giving birth to three children, Aeson, Amythaon and Pheres. After Tyro left her two sons exposed on the mountains, everybody thought that they would die. However, Neleus and Pylos did not die, and were rescued by a horsekeeper or a maid, and the person that did find them would also raise them into fine young men. In the meantime, the following was occurring. Tyro was the daughter of King Salmoneus and Queen Alkidiki. However, Queen Alkidiki would die, and Sidero would marry Salmoneus. Hence, she became Tyro's stepmother. The problem was that Sidero did not like Tyro at all and abused her. Time passed, and when Neleus and Pylos reached adulthood, they became aware of who the real mother was, and they also learned of the mistreatment she received from Sidero. Neleus and Pylos then sought vengeance for their mother, and though Sidero took refuge in the sanctuary of Hera, Pylos still killed her. Once everything was settled, and depending on the source, eventually a disagreement between Neleus and Pylos occurred, although whether this was before or after Pylos had usurped Aeson to become king of Iolcus depends on the source being studied. Neleus and Pylos would go their separate ways, with Neleus arriving in Mycenae. There he was welcomed by his cousin Aphareus, who gave him the maritime part of the land, where he settled and established his palace. Neleus would create a new city-state called Pylos, and eventually Neleus became the king of Pylos. As a king, Neleus needed a worthy wife, and thus Neleus would marry Chloris, who many sources say was the only surviving Neobite. Hence, Chloris was the daughter of King Amphion of Thebes and Niobe. Neleus would become father to a number of children, which were Pyro, Periclymenus, Alastor, Chomius, Asterius, Deimachus, Epilaus, Eurybius, Eurymenes, Evagoras, Phrasius, Pylaon, Taurus, and Nestor. Although we should note that some sources say that Neleus and Chloris had only 3 of the aforementioned children together, whilst the rest were children of Neleus with other women. The daughter of Neleus was, as stated above, Pyro, and Pyro's beauty would attract many suitors. Neleus would demand from the suitors of his daughter the cattle of Hercules from Phylaki, cattle which were guarded by a fearsome dog. By the way, Phylaki was a polis, aka city-state of Theotis in ancient Thessaly. Long story short, Vias, with a great deal of assistance from his brother, the famous seer Melampus, retrieved the cattle, and so Pyro, the daughter of Neleus, would become queen of Argos. The downfall of Neleus came years after the son of Tyro became king of Pylos, for during his kingship, Heracles came to the kingdom. In a fit of madness, Heracles had killed Iphitus, son of Eurytus, with Heracles throwing Iphitus from the walls of Tiryns. Now, Heracles sought absolution for his crime, and such absolution was a power that kings of ancient Greece had. King Eurytus, though, had been a friend of Neleus, and so Neleus refused to cleanse Heracles of his crime. Later, Heracles would return to the Peloponnese, and the son of Zeus conducted a series of military campaigns, and eventually Heracles attacked Pylos in retribution for Neleus' former refusal. Well, Heracles knew how to hold grudges. Moving on. Neleus and all of his sons, bar Nestor, who had taken refuge in Gerenia or just happened to be there receiving education, were said to have taken part in the defense of Pylos, and even then the kingdom of Neleus fell to Heracles. Noteworthy is the fact that according to some accounts, Hades would also support Neleus, but was wounded by Heracles, and also add that aside from Nestor, Neleus' son Periclymenus also escaped death, transforming himself into an eagle through a favor granted by Poseidon. After the death of Neleus, the kingdom of Pylos became Nestor's, or was perhaps divided between Nestor and Periclymenus if the later one was one of the survivors. Nestor would rule wisely and become famous later on for his wisdom. Let us finish with the following saying: if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Marcus Aurelius. That being said, remember guys to hit the like button and to subscribe to our channel, it would help us a lot. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for upcoming videos.